I think that if I have to give an advice about this, is they have to understand YouTube and they have to ask content creators and have relation with content creators and understand that they are journalists, but in YouTube you are a content creator. And the website is important, but YouTube is not a new website with video. No, it's different. It has its own logic, its own rhythms. So if they decide to go into YouTube, they have to pay attention to YouTube.
Hello and welcome to Fix.Ed, the podcast by the Fix Media, where we unpack media insight and take you behind the scenes of editorial decision, strategy, and innovation in the industry. I'm Orsi, and I will be your host today. Before we dive in, subscribe, follow, and if you like what you hear, support us at the Fix.media. Hello and welcome to Fix.Ed, the podcast by the Fix Media. I'm your host, Orsi Seregei, and today I'm happy to welcome Eduardo Saldaña, the co-director of Orden Mundial, the Spanish independent media and analysis platform. They are famous for making complex geopolitical topics accessible to younger audiences. And just as a note, this interview is part of a series produced by the Fix under the MOS project, MOS standing for Media Organization for Stronger Transnational Journalism, which is a European Commission initiative that connects 6 non-profit digital media outlets across Europe, like Orden Mundial. And the Fix works as a mentor and consultant on product, audience, and business development for partner newsrooms. Also, in this project, we are producing educational videos that, again, you can check out on our YouTube channel. Eduardo, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation, and I'm very glad to be here.
So let's jump right into it. So what is Orden Mundial about? What kind of videos do you make? Because I also know that you are making videos, and if there is any specific product or videos or any specific production that you are especially proud of.
Well, basically, we talk about international affairs, as you have said, and we didn't develop our YouTube area until we have enough resources. In the beginning, we were just recording our podcast on audio, but then we start recording on video as well. So we start uploading it to YouTube. And in the beginning, those were the kind of videos that we were doing. They start having a good number of visualizations, but later we realized that we need to adapt our videos to the consumption culture of YouTube. So we started developing just straight to the camera videos, more like this kind of Harris videos, a Caspian report, because on the same side we have a very relevant cartography area and data visualization in our media. So we start to introduce it. But as we will see later, we realized that there were too many formats in the same channel, and that it has become a challenge for us. But now we are putting a lot of efforts on developing this kind of YouTube format video. But at the same time, our main force on YouTube are video podcasts, because we are very well known in the Spanish speaking audience, Spain and Latin America, because of our podcast. So we are trying to use this strength in order to, develop the other new channels with this kind of straight to the camera videos. Focus on international affairs. I didn't say it. We are focused, all of them, on international politics, but we've realized that we have to make a combination between evergreen content and at the same time using the live and streaming options of YouTube in order to make the channel increase in numbers and visualization.
I think we're going to talk a lot about your YouTube channel. I think that's something that will be very interesting also for our audience and for anyone who would like to start to grow on YouTube. Because also a year ago, I think the channel had around 29,000 subscribers, and now you are close to what number is now that you are standing at the moment?
70,000. We are 69,300,000, but we are close to 70,000. Yeah.
So from the inside, like the newsroom, What actually changed? Was there one moment where things just clicked, or was it just a constant iteration over time? If you would need to point out one thing that moved this needle and pushed the
Hmm.
numbers, what would you say? What was it?
I would say the first time we start recording well edited and produced YouTube format videos. And those videos were the ones that help us increase our numbers. And we realized that that was the path that we have to follow, and that we need to create more content like that. But at the same time, we learn a lot because we fail sometimes. The hardest part, it has been the internal coordination, because as I explained, our channel was focused on video podcasts, but suddenly we start developing new kind of videos that they were working well, but they need a lot of production and edit after the recording, and we didn't have the internal resources, they were externalized. So we had a channel there, but if I had to put like one date or one video, we published a video about the US intervention in Latin America, and it rocks a lot. It were like 3,000 views or something, and we said, okay, this is the way, we have to do this. But at the same time, we realized that we need to incorporate those kind of technical profiles in order to develop on a proper manner our YouTube channel. And at the same time, we have to divide the the channel between the video podcast and this kind of videos, because we realized that the algorithm was a bit crazy with this kind of content.
You already mentioned a little bit about these internal processes, and that also like how you started with Orden Mundial, and now with the podcast and with the YouTube, what's happening exactly at the channel. So how did this transformation happen internally? Did you really try to move the podcast listeners into video, or did YouTube just start building its own audience naturally? Because you just mentioned that you had to make some differentiation. So how did that happen?
Actually, it happens at the same time, because we start doing video podcasts as such, because Spotify start to include video on its platform, because we were strong on podcasting. So when we saw that Spotify was pushing for video in order to compete with YouTube, we start recording ourselves in the studio. So we said, okay, let's go into YouTube with this kind of format. But when we were there, we realized that the video podcast format was good for YouTube, but our audience was not there. I mean, we were not going to grow a lot with video podcasts, so we need to develop other kind of formats internally. That meant that we have to reorganize our teams, because we have like 5 people focused just on podcasts. Our main income on video podcast, it comes from there on the Spotify side, but we need to start developing an area just focus on YouTube and video as such. So we start looking for writers. Actually, it wasn't easy, because we are a niche media. We are focused on a very specific topic like international analysis, so we couldn't hire anybody like a random guy who has just studied journalism. We need someone who understand the logics of TV, of media, the visual side of media, but at the same time who has knowledge about international politics, and that has been a challenge. And on the other side, it has been difficult to find a good editor, because usually they are freelancers, sorry, that work with content creators, and they are not used to the internal dynamics of media. This editorial part, these meetings, this fact checking, the corrections, they are maybe too focused on numbers. And numbers were not so important for us. We just want to go step by step into YouTube understand the platform, uh, make sure that our team, all our newsroom, understand why we are going into YouTube, that they get used to think also about the content on a visual way. So that has been a challenge, yeah. And now actually there are like three people just focused on developing our YouTube universe in El Orden Mundial, and probably we would need to hire one or two more people, because we know that this is the platform where you have to be nowadays in media in general. We are journalists, analysts, and also content creators, and we need to create a YouTube and audiovisual culture in our newsrooms. I mean, we can't be focused anymore just on writing text and big reports without having by your side someone thinking on the script and how it's going to adapt this content to shorts, reels, or whatever video they are willing to make.
And how about the audience itself? Because you mentioned that at first you saw that the audience were not really there. So do you feel that now the YouTube audience behaves differently from your podcast audience?
Yeah, they behave different. Actually, now we are seeing it more because, as I explained in the beginning, we have divided our channels. We've done something that it may sound a bit crazy, but we create a new channel for the media, and we leave our main channel for the podcast, because we realized that the contents were targeting different audiences, so they can't be mixed. I mean, the video podcast is it's for a more specific audience, people that already know this product, that they are used to watch them on TV, long format, and on the other side, a short video format for around 12, 15 minutes on YouTube. It's oriented to another kind of audience. They are these more young audiences, or people that consume this kind of videos when they are maybe having lunch, and they go one after another one. They are not just focused on one channel, but they try to discover it on YouTube, and the algorithm, sorry, it takes a very important part on this. So that's why we decided to divide it, and we realized that the audience actually they were different. And for example, with short format videos like these ones, focus on watching to the directly to the camera, you can reach non-Spanish audiences. And even with this new translation of YouTube, we found that we have a niche in the United States, even on Spanish speaking audiences, but also on English speaking audiences. And actually, some of our videos, when they just finalized, our CPM was higher because we were, I mean, our audience was suddenly on the States.
So basically, you created this sub-channel
Yeah.
for this content, but I think especially for like small newsrooms, it sounds like a little bit of a risk. So
Yeah, it
what?
may sound risk, but it may sound risk in the short term. But in the long term, if you are really focused on investing on YouTube and putting money, we may have losses in the beginning. Of course, I mean, we create a channel from zero, but we know that we are thinking about products when we took this decision. We were thinking about these different products, and we realized that we need to develop the YouTube universe of our media. So our podcast, No es el fin del mundo, is our main product currently. It needs to have his own channel. At the same time, we have launched a new podcast focused on football. So it also needs to have its own channel, because they have different audiences. They are going to reach different people on YouTube. And on the top of it, you need to have the media channel. So when we analyzed our situation, we realized that the main channel needs to be with the main product, our podcast, No es el fin del mundo. So we basically develop the El Orden Mundial YouTube channel, and when you go into it, you can see El Orden Mundial Universe. So you find No es el fin del mundo, Realpolitik, and other podcasts that we are going to launch in the future with their own channels. And in that media, our new channel, we are just going to upload this kind of camera videos, YouTube format videos, maybe some interviews. But our goal was to clear the content so we don't drive crazy the algorithm and also the users, because suddenly some people join our channel to watch a 2 hours video, but one day later they find a 15 minutes video, so it was a mess. And we need to just clean everything, have it clear, and also it has helped our internal control of KPIs, because now the products are separated, so you can analyze better the development of the investment of this kind of YouTube format videos, because 1 month ago I didn't know if all the visualizations were coming from the podcast, from the short format videos, from the shorts. It was a completely mess. So yes, of course, we know that it may be risk, but I mean, we didn't delete our main channel. It is there. We still have the 70,000 subscribers, but it is focused on the podcast. The other one, we need to develop it, but our idea is to use all the different products that we have and the different communication channels that we currently have in order to push this El Orden Mundial channel. Actually, I think it's going to be easier because, I mean, it's the channel of the media, the main brand. So people, when they will look for us on YouTube, it's going to be easier for them to just join the channel. I think it could have been more risk for us to create a new channel just for the podcast. I mean,
And what about the team? Like, were there any internal hesitation? Because also what I see, because we already had a chance to work together on a couple of, like on a different project, and what I see that you are also like the team is quite aligned. So was it aligned also from the very beginning when you started to pitch this idea, or were there any internal hesitation?
not so much hesitation, because actually, I mean, we didn't took a unilateral decision. We were listening to them, and they start like telling us, guys, I mean, these videos work, but they are mixed with the podcast. The thumbnails are very different, so there is not some kind of aesthetic presentation of the channel. And when we start thinking about it, we thought about it with them. What we did as managers, it was just listening to the demands of our team and the people working on the channel. I mean, I'm not a YouTube consume. I mean, I consume YouTube, but no, I'm not a YouTube freak. But I don't. I know that the audience is there. So what I have to do is trust my team. Of course, look into the counts and assume the economic risk of the decision. But I think it's not such a risky choice. I think it's even easier and good. It's better for us because I know the company, they can even explain all the results better to their other newsroom mates. And what we've realized is that even the rest of the newsroom, they prefer this now because everything is more clear. I mean, there are no internal competitions like, okay, the podcast now is the most important kind of video in the channel and we have to work on the other. No, they are separated. The podcast goes on one side, the other channel goes on the other. They are of course interrelated, but they are not mixed. So we don't have like editorial differences. Now you can publish some video about one topic on the podcast channel, and at the same time you can publish the same topic with a different approach on the other channel, and that's easier because in the past, for example, just a case, the intervention in Venezuela. If we wanted to do a podcast about Venezuela, we couldn't publish a short video on the channel about Venezuela as well, because you will have like the two videos together. But now when you have different channels, there's no problem. So it's even better because you can use the work that you have done for the podcast in order to adapt it to the other channel, because you are approaching different audiences. So now we don't have this kind of editorial discussions, because it's like, no, 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 it doesn't matter. Just publish the same topic with different approach in both channels.
You already mentioned, and I also know that you are working with different YouTube formats also. Like you have the short, you have the podcast episode, the explainers, and lots of creators would say that you should like pick one lane and go all in. So, but as I see that you are not picking one, right? You are using all these formats to support each other. So, do you see these formats supporting each other all the way, or how do you see it? Are they competing to each other internally?
Well, actually, when we only have one channel, they were competing internally. That's why we divided it. Now that they are separated, they are not competing; they are complementing each other. They are together in the El Orden Mundial YouTube universe. So if someone wants to go into our channel and go to the podcast channel, they will consume there just one kind of videos. So basically, I mean, that's why I think that the decision is correct. We need to differentiate. They can't be together. It's true that I will tell to other newsroom. I mean, maybe if you don't have enough resources, or if you don't have such a developed product like our podcast, you just have to put everything together. But in our case, our podcast is mainly an Spotify based product. So YouTube is a complementary platform, but YouTube is important for other kind of contents. That's why they can't be together. That's why we separate them. And now what we are realizing is that the work of our team is better. They are complementing each other. And at the end, this year, working on, well, not a whole year, but this month, working very focused on YouTube, uh, they have been very useful in order to establish an internal workflow and an internal YouTube and video culture in our newsroom. We usually say that we don't want to go fast, but we want to go safe, and we prefer to build the base of all our processes in a solid way. And now I can say that we are strong, that our team is knows what we are doing, and everything is clear. So when you ask me about mixing the formats in these months, we realize about that problem, and that's the reason that we decided to divide the channels and to create a new one focused on one kind of formats, and also on one kind of editorial products. Because when you have the El Orden Mundial channel, I mean a channel for your media, what the audience expects is a content related what a media will do. I mean, you don't expect a podcast there. You expect a camera video. You expect an interview, something more related with the products close to the editorial area of a media.
And you work together with a YouTube growth agency. Is that right?
Yeah, we work together with freelance editors that they work with a lot of content creators and these esports teams editing their content. I mean, it was a good experience. We learned, but we realized and we talked with them that was not the best. That wasn't, sorry, the best model for a media like ours. I mean, and I explain myself. They did an excellent work. I mean, our videos rocked. We have a lot of visualizations and we grow a lot, but we weren't building an internal YouTube culture. I mean, we externalized something that in the future is going to be very important for us. So we created very risky dependencies. And our team, we start talking, and we've noticed that it was growing out, but it was the result of an outside work, not someone who knows our team, who understand how we think. And I mean, we weren't developing an internal audiovisual culture, and for us that's more important. So that's why we decided to stop working with them, even losing visualizations, because we lost a lot of impact there in those months. But me and my partners, we would rather prefer to look for someone who comes to the office, who edits all the videos together with the rest of the team, because in the medium and long term, that's going to be better. And in the short term, you can externalize the video production, but I don't know how to say it in English, but in Spanish it's like it's money for today, hunger for tomorrow. Because you are not building your internal structure, your base, and now with the incorporation into our newsroom of a video editor, we are developing that, because he knows the people he's working with. He knows why we decide to go slow but safe. And after these 2 months, we are starting to see better results, because I usually try to focus on how they are working and on the developing of the product, and the product is it's better day by day.
All right, so let's talk about the team itself, because I also see that for Orden Mundial, the team is very important. And I think this is also something as a good example for other small and independent newsrooms, right? That, your people should come first and then, focusing everything internally. So your team has grown quite a bit over the last couple of years. And how much of the growth was driven by the video and YouTube specifically? And what does the actual workflow look like now behind the scenes?
Mm, it didn't grow directly from YouTube. I mean, the income comes from other products like the podcast on Spotify. But it's true that the growing efforts, they have been focused on YouTube area and video area in general. I mean, because when I talk about YouTube, I'm talking about the shorts, and shorts are at the same time Instagram Reels, Facebook content. So basically the audio visual part. So what we've done is use the income of our podcast products in order to make our audiovisual side grow and hire specialized people. For example, I mean, we incorporate one editor just focused on video for YouTube, and also more edited reels and shorts as well. Also an analyst just for writing scripts for YouTube. Maybe, I mean, if he has time, he can do another job, but his main task is YouTube. And two more people that work half time of their work time, they are focused on YouTube. So now we can say that we have like 4 persons focused on this area. But it's true that we need to make it bigger. Probably in the future we will have like six people just on YouTube video area, because we need to develop sub products on the main channel. And something that it has been also good in internal terms is that we have incorporated the discussion about YouTube content in our editorial meetings each week. I mean, we have weekly meetings, and when people present their what they are working on, I mean, maybe the editors from the web start talking about the different articles, podcast talks about their content, and also YouTube talks about what they are going to publish that week, what kind of videos they are doing. So we make that the rest of the newsroom think on how they can help their teammates in the content they are going to develop. And actually, that's happening. I mean, sometimes they say, I'm going to work on a topic about the Caribbean Sea. And you can see that the people from the website say, okay, guys, we can make you some maps and graphs. So it is helping us to create a horizontal development of the product. And I think it's working. Let's see in the future.
And what do you think if a niche and independent newsroom would like to try to grow on YouTube? What would be the minimum viable team, in your opinion, to start?
I think two people, one just for editing the video, the other one for making the scripts, but they can be separate. They have to work together. I mean, you can have someone developing the scripts and the other one editing the video. They need to be sitting together. Actually, that's something that we have done. They are all sitting together in the same table, one by the side of the side by side. But yeah, two people is the minimum to grow the channel, and they need to, especially the people that goes on in front of the camera, they need to have personalities. I mean, they must be people that knows how to see, how to talk to the camera, that understand the rhythms of visual communication, because if not, it's not going to work. I mean, you may have people that are boring, but if they are attractive to the audience, that will work. I mean, you can have boring people with a lot of personality, but if they don't have personality, it's not going to work. I mean, the people working on YouTube, they must understand the content creators culture that is driving media nowadays and information. Because if they don't understand that, they are not going to work properly. They are not going to be happy with their work. And at the end, they are just going to be frustrated. And also, something important that we've learned, you can focus on growth in visualization numbers. But at the end, if you have an average number of, I don't know, 10,000 visualizations, and you have a good, how can I say it in English? Uh, Watching time. I mean, if the people stayed watching your video, that's a good metric. That's a good KPI. Because in the future, I mean, for independent media, if you have 8,000 visualizations and 8,000 people watch all the video, you have a good community to ask for support in the future. I mean, maybe money. You may don't have a big income for programmatic advertisement, but maybe if you have a subscription business model like ours, you can ask them for money. And if just, I don't know, a 10% of 8,000 people subscribe to your media, that's money.
Let's talk about the business model then, because you already mentioned it. So basically, Orden Mundial is subscription based, and that's like your core business model. So where does YouTube fit financially into this?
Actually, it doesn't fit. I mean, now it's not in our income structure. It's more in our expense structure because it's an investment structure. It would say I would say it. But in the future, probably it will be in the advertisement side because what we've noticed is that the podcast, the audio, is a bigger way of converting audience because people usually in audio when they pay more attention than to a video. I mean, sometimes on YouTube it's quite difficult to keep the attention of the audience because usually they are. I mean, they don't watch all the video because they need to be sitting watching everything. And when you are in a podcast, usually it's easier to just introduce the humanize yourself, introduce the idea of subscription. So in the future, YouTube probably it will be like in the brand advertisement side, programmatic income, and also branded content. For us, it will. Our idea is that one, but maybe I'm wrong, and in the future we've realized that we can have a lot of subscriptions to our media through YouTube, but it's quite difficult to send a message about subscription in a 12-minute video. It's easier when you have a 1 hour and a half podcast. So basically, for our media, it will be in the advertisement side, but if you are a small media of 5 6 people, maybe you can have a pattern or something. And what we've realized is that the people that usually consume YouTube, they are very used to like pay an extra money for their channels they love, pay in Patreon. They are not so used to going to website and subscribe to a media, but you can have options there in the subscription model. In Spotify, for example, is different. Spotify, when you create recurrence and you are just a part of the life of your audience, is much easier.
And right now, where you're standing with the YouTube, what do you think? What will actually convert better into your long-term business value? The podcast, shorts, the traditional videos. What do you think? Where is your money at?
Well, our money is in audiovisual in general because what we understand now is that podcasts are not just audio, they are also video. But in this next year, our money is going to be, I would say, like 60% on developing new video podcasts and 40% on growing on this specialized YouTube content because the podcasts are going to be also on YouTube, but yeah, 40% of our investment is going to be on the YouTube team and developing YouTube. And actually, I think it's going to have good results, or at least results that is useful for us in order to sell advertise ads and branded content.
What do you think? Is there something that you thought that it will work on YouTube over the last year and it just didn't? And how do you measure it, like if it failed or not? Because as I see, you are still sort of experimenting with it and you rather go into this slowly. But do you already have something that you see that it's actually not working and you maybe had high expectations?
Yeah, the externalization of the edition of videos, because I expected that it's going to be easier to coordinate, to develop a good coordination between our newsroom and the freelancers, and I failed on that bet. I mean, and actually, it was my personal bet to hire these editors, and it was useful because we learn and we have good relation with them. But it was harder than I expected to have a proper coordination between my newsroom and them, because at the end of the day, in a newsroom you have a lot of kind of works. You have a very specific workflow and hierarchy, and also rhythms. and the content creation environment clash with a newsroom, with the traditional newsroom workflows. And sometimes teams need time to adapt to this kind of formats and this kind of rhythms. So that is probably the biggest failure that we have had, and it's also what slow our growth. Yeah, because I think that if it would have worked better, I think we probably could have grown much. I mean, than nowadays. And actually, I mean, our growth, it has been good, but not as much as I expected if it had worked.
All right. I think I have still two more questions, and slowly we're going to finish this conversation. So, looking ahead, if we would have this conversation again, let's say a year from now on, what would make you feel that your YouTube strategy actually succeeded? What would success would look for you?
For me, success, it will be to have around in our newsroom channel, the media channel, the main one, the new one, around 20, 30,000 subscribers, um, an average of 10, 15,000 visualization per video. But especially what will make me feel satisfied is knowing that we are having a minimum income. I mean, we are covering at least 1.5 salary of our YouTube team. That will be great. But especially for me is that if I have a video, an audiovisual team working with a good coordination, that will be great for me. Because what we understand is that I mean, if YouTube works properly, we will notice this on other platforms. And I mean, if you had a good ADC editing team, you will have better shorts on Instagram. You will probably have better interviews. You will probably have better video podcast. So for us, YouTube is not the end, is the path to the development of the audiovisual part of Orden Mundial. I mean, it's like the goal. We have to grow on YouTube, and we know that all the work that we are going to do in this path, it's going to be useful for us, the success and the fails.
All right. And maybe if you would like to give some advice to smaller independent media, because a lot of them are trying to figure out YouTube and, with tiny teams. So what's the one thing that you think that most newsrooms still misunderstand about YouTube?
I think that if I have to give an advice about this, is they have to understand YouTube, and they have to ask content creators and have relation with content creators, and understand that they are journalists, but in YouTube you are a content creator, and the website is important, but YouTube is not a new website with video. No, it's different. It has its own logic, its own rhythms. So if they decide to go into YouTube, they have to pay attention to YouTube. It's hard. You need a lot of constancy there, and maybe you have to analyze if your product is working there. Actually, that's something that we have asked ourselves a lot of time. Should we be on YouTube with this kind of product or not? Because sometimes if it's not working, and if you are spending a lot of money and you are frustrating, maybe you don't have to be there. There are other channels nowadays with video, but what we know, and I can affirm this out loud, is that in the future media, I mean, you have you must have video. You are not going to have a proper business model without the audiovisual part. But really, I mean, and we know it because our subscription model, it has changed drastically since we go into audio video.
All right, Eduardo, thank you so much for joining for today's episode.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And for our listeners, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are also on YouTube now and different sort of podcast channels as well. So please come and join our conversations weekly. Thank you.